That is one issue that really has been one that's been so divisive, this issue of climate change, land use as well, of course. And there's a lot of those issues these days. I mean, it seems like civility has really kind of taken a really big hit, especially with the latest election and what we've seen from the election from 2016 onward. So, how do you deal with it? What are you seeing in terms of is there a lack of civility among the populace, among the electorate that you've been talking to, the constituents? I mean, have you been kind of attacked in some ways? Have people kind of confronted you with things that you're like, well, wait a minute, that's not where I'm coming from. I'm trying to conciliate here. Or do you feel like that's been a little bit overblown and contributed by the media to that?
I would say, I wouldn't use the term lack of civility, but I would use the term brokenness. I was up in Susanville a couple weeks ago. Amazing group of people. Different trip than the time I learned about the forests. I go to Susanville a lot. I'm going back on Wednesday. But I was with the Indivisible Susanville group up there. And before the meeting, they were making great jokes there. There was about 40 of them. And they're like, we got all the Democrats in Lassen County up here. If any of us leave, we got to hurry on back. It messes with the equilibrium. They were cracking me up. But they were, before the meeting got started, I had a couple conversations just one-on-one with folks, and it was like, it's so, the politics are so divisive that I can't talk to my husband about this anymore, or I can't talk to my daughter at all about politics anymore because we were just on opposite sides. And I felt for the first time this real sense of brokenness, and it's mirrored to me the brokenness of the urban and rural divide, or even the brokenness of the coasts of the United States versus Middle America. This polarization to an extreme where families and friends are broken apart. And I got a little preachy that day when I was talking to him, because it was just really on my mind and on my heart to talk to them about how we overcome that and how we move past that and how we take time to honor the dignity and the inherent humanity in other people, even when we disagree, and how we take time to look at other people's perspectives. And so a minute ago, I was telling you the story about farmers and climate change, right? And so I was able to take off my hat and put on a farmer's hat and say, this is what it feels like. This is what it looks like from their side. And when we can do that with people that we think are so different than us, then we can start to find a spot of shared common values. And when we can figure out just one thing in the middle of a thorny issue that we agree on, then we can start to actually make change. And so we're so polarized, we're so divided, that we have to start taking these steps towards finding that common shared value, so that we can actually make change. And I think a great example of this for me is the gun safety issue right now. There's nothing more polarizing right now than the issue of gun safety. And so, people on one side of the argument are saying, they're coming to take my guns, and people on the other side are saying, all of this terrible stuff is happening. We have to do something. And so if we come to the very core of that issue and find that common humanity in the middle, the shared value is that nobody wants innocent lives taken at the hands of guns, especially not in schools. So we get there, we agree there, and then we can kind of move outward. And so, yeah, the civility I wouldn't use to describe it, but a brokenness and a polarization is really real. And I want my whole campaign to be about bringing people back together, bringing people together around a vision for what the North State can be. And that's what we talk about every day. It's great.